Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Property Experts podcast. My name is Ben Richards. I am not joined by Jack today. He is on the slopes over in Val d'Isere, but he is with us in spirit, I'm sure. Another jam-packed agenda for you today to talk through of the ins and outs of our property development businesses and our service-based businesses, which are Aura Architecture, XP Surveys, and Central Suites, along with XP Property, our development and investment business. If you're a business owner, if you're a property developer, hopefully you get a lot of value from these conversations. We're here every Friday at 5 p.m, so do tune in. And if you missed it, you can find it again on YouTube and on all of your podcast platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. So today we are going to be going through the following agenda. We're going to be talking about some of the key goal setting objectives for 2024 and how we do this as a business, looking at our various objectives throughout the year, KPIs, key actions. Let me find a better, there you go, that's better. We're going to be talking about one-to-one consulting sessions and our boardroom group, which is a place that you guys can get interactive with us, help you grow your businesses within 2024 and make it the best year ever. We've been having a couple of investor and family office meetings this week, which have been quite fruitful. So I'm going to be talking about a little bit who we've been speaking to on that front. We have got a checklist for you. So you guys have been really, really eager to see and download some of the templates that we have on offer for you guys that tune into this. Apologies to those that have reached out and have asked for certain things. You can imagine we've got a really busy business. We're trying to create these checklists and documents for you guys to take away and use in your own business, but often they are working documents that have sensitive information. We have to find the time, Jack and I, to kind of strip them back, brand them up and kind of send them out to you guys. And that's taking a little bit too much time because we're extremely busy, but we will get back to you with all of those free templates as soon as we possibly can. I'm going to be going through the doctor's surgery that we exchanged on last week. It's a conversion project, office to commercial conversion to residential conversion project that I'm going to be talking through in a bit of detail. So stay tuned to understand what Class MA, permitted development rights, are all about. We've had a couple of tenders back over the past couple of weeks, and I'm sitting on my chair now, but I certainly fell off when they came through. They're way above budget. We need to do a lot of value engineering to get them back to where they need to be. I'm going to be talking about some of those. We've instructed a contractor for Thame. I had the pleasure of speaking to a Mr. Will Mallard on the My Property World podcast earlier this week. We've had our XP Property website updated. It is now live, and I'm going to be showing you an insight into that. Those of you that are going to MIPIM would love to understand where you are, what you're doing, and if we can meet up to have a conversation. If you are a bank lender, an investor, a family office, a fund, we want to speak to you. We've got a lot of projects in the pipeline. So I'm going to be talking about MIPIM and the dates that is kicking off. So let's jump into it, starting with setting your business goals for 2024. Now, could do a whole episode on this with regards to both business and personal goals. I'm going to leave the personal goals to one side. I'm going to be talking about our business goals for 2024 and how we look at those business goals within each business. Now, I started using this template with Aura Architecture probably 3 or 4 years ago when I started doing some business coaching. And it's been a massive help to understand how the business is going to grow to the next level, how to set goals for your business, how to look at the sort of vision of where you see things going, and then break them down step by step in manageable tasks. Because I know when you look at one big goal, it's often overwhelming to figure out how you're going to get there. Breaking it down into individual steps is the way that you're going to make those, achieve those goals and make it obtainable and sustainable for you as a business. So what we've got here is a template, and I've put the link on the screen, bit.ly/XP_templates, and you can download and request all of these templates that you see on the screen and some of the checklists that I'm going to be talking about later. But to very, very quickly sum up what this strategy on a page document is, if I make it slightly bigger for you guys, on this left-hand side, we have the sort of vision, the purpose, the values of the business, and really what you're trying to obtain from it, what your key USPs, market space, and company promises. And that's really the blue sky thinking behind your business and really where you want to sort of drive the direction of the business to. Quite fluffy stuff, but really important to get down on paper so that you've got a true understanding of who you are in the business and what your business is going to provide for both you and your external clients. Then the more nitty gritty stuff, which is actually the actionable stuff on this right hand side. First, looking at your 12-month trajectory. So what are your key metrics, your business growth indicators, your key performance indicators, KPIs, BGIs, however you want to write them down. What are they for your business? What are the key metrics that really sort of tell you whether or not you've grown as a business, whether you're profitable as a business, what's going to get you to the next stage? And then the key actions or the strategy that you're going to take or need to take to achieve those wider goals. And this is broken down into the 5 key areas of a business. So you're talking marketing, sales, operations, finance, and talent. There's, that's the key 5 parts of any business, whatever business you're in. And you need to be thinking about those 5 key areas within this sort of goal setting objective task. Once you've got your 12-month strategy and BGIs, you can then break that down into quarterly BGIs and your quarterly strategy of how you're going to achieve them, and then break them down even further into monthly goals. So what will you do in your business as a key action in each of those parts of the business, marketing, sales, operations, finance, talent, to get you to the next stage? And this is how we break it down. So it's called strategy on a page. Everything's on one place for you to see. You can send that to your team. You can send that to your management team, your leadership team, to really set targets and aspirations for where you want the business to be so that they can follow the key actions to get you there. So hopefully that's of interest to you. Message us or click follow this link to get the template for this. And we'd love to know down in the comments what your business goals are for this year. How aspirational are they? We hope you are shooting for the stars. And if you land on the moon, all the better. But best of luck with your endeavors. On to point number 2. So one-to-one consultancy and our boardroom group. We've been running the boardroom for about 3 years now since COVID. And it's been a great success. We've had people come and go, often going because they've built their businesses to such a size that they no longer need our help and they want to continue to grow it outside of it. We've got 3 spaces left on the boardroom group for this year. We're only going to do 1 boardroom group at this point. We want 10 budding property developers that are looking to grow their business in 2024 to 7 or 8 figures. If that's you, do reach out. We'd love to hear from you. We've only got a couple of spaces left. So act now. If you don't know that much about our businesses and you're tuning in for the first time, these are the various businesses that we've built over the years. We've got 7-figure service-based businesses. We've got 6-figure service-based businesses that are just startups. We've got our development business, which is multi-million pound development. We're up to sort of 40 million pounds of pipeline delivery now over the next couple of years. Central Suites is a co-living and property management business in Oxfordshire, which has now got 130 beds, I think, within its portfolio. And it's done that in a short 4 to 5 years. That's Jack's business with his brother, Rob. And then we've got Aparo Social, which is a social housing portfolio that we've been building over the last 3 years to the tune of 8 figures. So, the portfolio value at the moment is over 20 million. And we've done that with, great systems, great team, and it's not been any mean feat, but it's something that we've learned a lot from, and we want to share that knowledge, understanding, and expertise with people that are looking to do similar things. So, Lucia, you've reached out to me on LinkedIn. I know that our new website doesn't have the packages and the information about the one-to-one consultancy in the boardroom group yet. We're still working on that, and I'll go through our latest website on screen later. But do reach out via email if you're interested in any of those packages. On to point number 3. So if you've been tuning in over the last couple of months, you'll know that we're looking to go for effectively a £10 million fundraise for our various endeavours in the property development space. And we've had some really good conversations this week. Every conversation we have, makes us think about how we're presenting this information, how the slide decks are packaged up, and what we've learned, which will hopefully help some of you other developers that are out there looking to raise a serious amount of capital over the next couple of years, is that we've tried to maybe package up our offering in the wrong way. We've almost put everything into one basket, which on screen you'll see, and I'll talk you through it. We've got the social housing income, which is the sort of low return, low risk, government supported income that is more for your larger institutions or your portfolio and investment buyers. We've got our development projects, which are on average over the last 5 years since we've been operating, about 52% return per year, IRR. But again, high risk and therefore high return. We've got our sort of good yielding HMO portfolio that we're building, which will generally return about 8 to 15% per year. And we were looking at this when we first talked about raising an external fund, thinking that this diversification of risk across the 3 different sort of buckets of opportunity were the way to do it, in that you've got the solid foundations of the social income, mix that in with the high risk returns on the development, and you've got a really solid investment profile. What it's turned out to be is actually a bit confusing for some people, and it's kind of a one size fits all. And actually a lot of the people that we've been speaking to want either or. They're either in the market for buying income, in which case they want the social housing portfolio, or they're in the market for high risk, high return development income, which obviously where the developments come in. So we've kind of understood that, yes, it's okay to have a slide deck that kind of has everything and, cards on the table, that's everything. But having a separate slide deck for the securitized income, separate slide deck for the development stuff, and a separate deck for the HMO portfolio in our wings to bring out when each individual investment opportunity, family office or fund wants to talk about the different ones, or whichever one suits their investment profile the best. We can bring out the various decks depending on what they need. So I guess listening to the investors' requirements first, and then bringing out the opportunity that suits them the best, is what we've learned over the past couple of months. If you are a family office, if you have access to funds and you want to invest with award-winning developers, we want to speak to you. We've got a serious pipeline coming up, and we always need additional investment to do the deals that we do. So if you're interested, do reach out. We'd love to have a chat. Cool. So I talked about this one a couple of months ago, and we're doing it a lot more now because we've got a lot of sites coming onto site. And because we've got so much going on, we found it very, very difficult to keep up with all of the different requirements from the different lenders. Each monitoring surveyor has their own set of criteria. Each monitoring surveyor has their own structure in how they want the information presented. They want different things at different times. So what we've created is effectively a checklist for you guys to use that helps you either create a Google Drive folder, for example, with the various headings that you can put all of the relevant information into, so that instead of piecemeal, a development lender, a monitoring surveyor asking for, oh, we need your QS report, we need your planning decision notices, all of that information that they're going to need to make and create their report as seamlessly as possible. You want that in just one link that you can send to someone. And this is what this template helps you do. So it's a checklist of all the things they may want to allow you to have a very quick reference point to go through it, make sure everything is in one folder that you can send across to the surveyor. It's going to speed up your life. It's going to speed up their life, and it's going to help your bank and your development lender, your bridging finance lender, make quick decisions a lot faster and give them all the information that they need. So going through the list of all the things that you're going to want to think about, I mentioned the costing, so putting a cost analysis in there, your program, a Gantt chart of how things are going to plan out on site, any statutory consents, like I mentioned, the planning permission decision notices, building regulation initial notices or plans checks. If you've got that far, you may not have got that far. Maybe it's just a case of saying, here's 3 quotes from 3 building control bodies. They're in the folder for you to see. We're going to choose one of these. At least you know which one of the 3 it's going to be. Any Section 278 agreements, if you've got some highways works, utilities costs, or correspondence that you have with them about build over agreements, or new electrical connections or gas connections. Any investigation work, so asbestos surveys or things like that. Contracts with contractors, if you've got that far. All of the design material, so if you've got structural engineers, packages, if you've got your architect drawings, there's key information that your monitoring surveyor is going to want to know, so that they can understand what your project entails. Insurances, the key parties involved, who the principal designer is, who the principal contractor may be, who are the architects, the engineers, all their contact details, any warranties, so that's structural defect warranties that you might have. And then, if you've got a principal designer for CDM regulations, all of that information, if you've submitted an F10, which is your health and safety kind of notice to the HSE, Health and Safety Executive, all of this information in one Google Drive, going through this checklist, will really help you to speed up your development finance that you get with lenders. So if you're interested in having that checklist for you to use, it's there, it's created. We've done the hard work for you. Get in touch, bit.ly/xp_templates. Let us know what you want and which episode you've listened to and which one, where you first heard about the templates, and we will send them over to you. By the way, if you've got any questions throughout this episode, do drop them in the comments below. There will be a Q&A afterwards for anyone that does drop any questions in. If there's any burning questions that you've got in both business, property investment, or property development, hopefully I can help. And let's go through our latest acquisition. So we bought this property. We are buying this property in a couple of weeks' time. We exchanged last week. It's something that's going to go into our portfolio of rental income. It's a former's doctor's surgery. It's not the prettiest of buildings, but it's kind of rough around the edges. It's got a lot of space, and there's a lot of potential with it. And we're also buying it at a good level with its potential conversion opportunity to residential. So hopefully, if I can change my screen and present something different. Sorry, on my own, so it is technically a lot more difficult when Jack isn't here. Okay, here we go. That's better. So this project is just north of Oxford. It's in a place called Long Hanborough near Witney, for those that know the area. It's currently a doctor's surgery, and we will be converting it under what's called Class MA permitted development. So you can see on the screen there, just outside Oxford. If I zoom in, it's in quite a cute little sort of town. It's got a main line into, I think, Paddington, not too far away. It's right next to an RAF airspace base, and it's only about a 10-minute drive from Blenheim Palace. So lots of opportunity for potential service accommodation, as well as opportunity to rent this on a corporate let to the RAF base. Or there's a lot of businesses locally that will have contractors where HMOs in this area will be serviced, really well by our asset that we're buying. So I'll quickly give you a quick tour on Google. Let's do that one. So it's this beautiful building here, 12 parking spaces outside. It's currently a doctor's surgery, so it has use class E, which is fundamental to the strategy that we're looking at here. So use class E commercial properties have permitted development rights under class MA to convert to C3 residential use class. without needing to go down the full planning permission route. And that's the route that we're going down. So we're actually going to be converting this building into 4 flats. And those 4 flats will have circa 3 beds in them as part of a HMO strategy. So I'm just bringing up the drawings just so you can see a little bit more of what I'm talking about. So this is the current layout. You've got loads of clinic rooms, a dispensary, front reception. All of this will be stripped out very, very shortly. And we will be converting it into these 3 flats. So we've got 1 flat here. And if you're listening on the podcast, by the way, hopefully in the description show notes, there will be a link to our YouTube channel. If you are very visual, you want to understand and see all of the stuff that I'm talking about, then you're going to have to go over and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can actually see the visuals of what we're talking about here. We got 1 unit as you come into the main entrance, another unit here, and then the main existing entrance to the reception of the doctor's surgery gives us access to our 3rd unit on the ground floor. As we go up the stairs, we've got a big unit upstairs, which will become a 4-bedroom flat. So all in all, we're going to end up with 12 beds here. That's the end goal. We're going down a phased approach here. So a Class MA, first of all, to 4 large flats. And then we will be going in for full planning to hopefully get an additional dormer where I've just drawn, which will become a 5th bedroom upstairs and allow us to go from C3 use to a C4 HMO use so that each individual room can be let out individually. Hopefully that's explained things. If you've got any questions about this particular project, then let me know down below. I'm going to save the figures to Jack next time he is next time he's with us, so that he can actually go through, show you all the figures behind how this deal stacks up for us. We're buying it for, I think, £375,000. We're going to be spending around about £350,000 on it loosely, and it should value up at about £1.1 million when we're finished. Jack can talk you through the ins and outs of how we found this opportunity, how the negotiations have gone, and stay tuned to next week where he can run through all of that level of detail. If you are listening on the Property Experts podcast, thank you very much. If you're watching via YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and now Instagram, do head over to the Property Experts podcast. I was super excited. I messaged Christina, our marketing manager, late last night to say that yesterday was we had the biggest ever listening on our podcast yesterday. And it may not sound like a lot, but we had 39 people listening to the podcast yesterday, which is amazing. It's the most we've ever had in one day. It's constantly growing. And what I would ask from everyone listening or watching right now, if you do get value from these conversations, golden nuggets that you can take away in your own business, and you find it useful, please just share it with one person, just one person that you think would benefit from listening into these things. Would help us massively to grow the reach and help more businesses grow in 2024. So thanks for listening, for those that you do, but if you could share it, that would be absolutely incredible. So on to point number 6, which is something that I was hoping I didn't have to talk about, to be honest. We've had 2 tenders running over the last 6 weeks for 2 of our larger schemes that we are about to embark on in 2024. One of those is in Muswell Hill, which if you've been tuning in, you'd have seen. It's the one on the left. It's a large pair of semis that we're going to be converting into 9 flats shortly, semi-basement level, a few extensions, and then a refurbishment and reconfiguration of the internal space. And on the right-hand side, we have got the old Maltings, which we bought this time last year, got planning approval for conversion to 20 flats, and we're going to be going back in for further enhancements to get some more houses in the car park and some additional units squeezed around as well. It's probably not to anyone's surprise, who have had tenders back in the last couple of years to, fall off their chair when they come in. Both of these tenders are around about, we were hoping for both of these to come in at about 1.7 million. At the moment, they're sitting at about 2.1. So we're a good, probably £400,000 shy of where we need to be. Now, this is the first round of tenders, and we've done a competitive tender process on these. They've gone out to probably 5 contractors on each, and the response that we've had will then be whittled down to 2 contractors who are our favorite, and then we'll have further contract negotiations with those 2. It may even just be 1, actually. It depends on kind of the input that we get from the 2 that have been shortlisted. But for those of you that do have tenders back and they come in over budget, the next steps for you guys really should be to go and speak to your architect, look at what can be done to trim the fat on anything that may have been designed. One of the key things on both of these schemes that I'm going to be looking at is energy performance. One of the things that we've been trying to do on our schemes lately is push everything away from gas. When the EPC changes came in and the government announced that they were looking to move everything away from gas and stop the new installation of gas boilers from 2025, I think it was originally, we tried to push a lot of our sites into an electric only heating source. And anyone that's gone through the SAP process and looked at EPCs will know that electric heating with any SAP just blows them out of the water from a ratings perspective. To give an example, if we didn't do anything to the external envelope of this property on the left, Colney Hatch Lane, for example, and we had gas combi boilers in every unit, I'd be pretty confident of very easily getting probably a C level. If I just replace that gas boiler with an electric combi boiler, you're instantly at about an E for an EPC rating, which is a massive jump to fill. Now, the logic behind it was great and sound, i.e. gas connections are quite expensive. You've got delays with utilities, which are always a pain in the ass. Any new connections are, an expensive part of any development and conversion. So by removing, let's say the gas connections on Colney Hatch Lane might have been £20,000, by removing that need and saving that £20,000 and replacing all of the gas for electrics, we were thinking that would be a nice cost saving to make and one less thing to think about. But in reality, the complications of then trying to achieve an EPC rating of a C or above, which is really where you want to be. I know the government have scrapped the need for rental properties to be a C or above, but they're going to bring something back in. So, you really want to be targeting at least a C for your conversion projects and new builds to make sure that from a saleability perspective, you're not shooting yourself in the foot. So with both of these projects, just to give you a really kind of rough idea, the Old Maltings project was coming in at about £100,000 per unit. Now, they're small units. A lot of them are like, 40 square meters. It's PD. So we're trying to cram in as many units as possible. Let's say all of each unit is £100,000. At the moment, about £40,000 to £45,000 of that £100,000 is the M&E cost, which is huge. 45% of a unit being M&E is just massive. And I know plumber day rates, electrician day rates have gone through the roof over the last couple of years. And it is an expensive part of the build, but that is the area that we are targeting to make savings where we can. So how can we reduce the amount of light fittings? What services can we reduce down or buy in bulk or do something slightly different with? Do we have a electric combi boiler that's just one piece of equipment and one cost? Or actually, if we're spending £2,500 on that one piece, but we had a separate electric boiler with a separate water tank that cost us £1,500, well, that's a 20 grand saving straight away by just making that change. So yeah, the services are something that we're going to be looking intently at over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be talking to the contractors about their prelims. The prelims are coming in 12% plus, which we really want to try and reduce down and see how we can work with them to do that. But it's very difficult out there at the moment. I'd love to know what issues, what's the biggest deficit between your budget and what the tenders have come back. Let me know in the comments, because at the moment we're probably 20-25% shy of where we need to be on these schemes. So a lot of work for us over the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned till next week. Hopefully I'll have some better news when we start negotiating these contracts and try to bring those costs down. But at the moment, very stressful times to try and get them to work. Cool. I mean, on better news, we will be starting phase 1 of Thame, which is a 9-unit. The whole scheme will be part commercial, 20 units, 20 flats, but we're starting phase 1 as the first 9 units. And I'm actually really happy to say that on this particular scheme, we're actually below budget, which doesn't happen very often. I'm almost to the point where I'm factoring in some budget to potentially add some PV panels on the roof or do something to improve the energy efficiency on this one to cater for a better sales price. There is a lot of market research that suggests that higher performing energy efficient homes with a better energy EPC rating increase the sales values of properties significantly. I was reading a Rightmove report that said the average in the UK property that's brought its EPC up from a E to above a C has a £55,000 increase in property value because of that, which is quite staggering, really. So contractor has been instructed for Thame. We'll be doing some on-site social media posts of how that progresses. So if you're not following across Instagram and Facebook, you're going to be missing out on some of the day-to-day activities of how the business is going and how the projects are performing and progressing. So head over to Instagram and follow us at XP Property, Ben Richards _property, and Jack's Jiggins Property, maybe. I actually don't know his Instagram handle, but you'll find him, I'm sure. So yeah, looking forward to really starting on site with that one. If you're interested to understand, or if you are a small business and you're looking to grow your small business in the service-based industry, I think you will really appreciate and get a lot of value from my conversation with Will Mallard this week. He's been running the My Property World podcast for about 3 years. He's done an insane amount of podcasts with people. He just seems to churn them out, hundreds and hundreds of them. And the conversation we had was very insightful. He pushed really hard on how I've built Aura Architecture up to where it is today and the story of the progression of how that's gone. And if you're a small business and you want to remove yourself from the business to focus on the key things that are going to grow it and not be the day-to-day operator of the business, which I know certainly when you're in a service-based business like ours, architecture, engineering, surveying, when you come from that service and that's what your business is about, you have a tendency to continue to provide that service yourself. And if you're looking to grow a business, that is the worst thing you can possibly do. If you're looking to try and grow a business, you cannot be the operator of the business. So you have to delegate, you have to bring in the administration, you have to bring in the management team. And that's what I've been able to do. So I've taken Aura Architecture over the last 6.5 years from basically starting from nothing to £1 million revenue and a team of 12 people, where I do less than a day a week in terms of my input and my time into that business. If that sounds of interest to you and that's something that you really want to do, because that was my key goal with Aura, it's relinquish my time as much as possible so I can focus on the property developments. And if you're interested to know more about how I've been able to do that, head over to My Property World. I don't think the episode has been released yet because we only recorded it a couple of days ago, but he's pretty efficient with this normally. So I think the next couple of days it should be launched. Both Jack and I have been on the podcast before, so take a look back at the previous history. But yeah, if you're a small business, you operate a service-based business, I think you'll get a decent amount of value from listening into that. So stay tuned. XP have gone through a whole rebrand of our website. It was very, very dated. A lot of the projects hadn't been updated for a long, long time. So we've had Ollie James of Property Branding. I actually met him for coffee earlier this afternoon. If you don't know Ollie, check out Property Branding. They do some incredible work with property developers and property investors for both site branding, sales brochures, CGIs, anything to do with property marketing and property branding. He can help you out significantly. I'm going to share my screen again because I just wanted to flick through. It's so difficult doing this when Jack's not here to like fill in whilst I'm doing the tech in the background. But anyway, here we go. So yeah, this is our new website. This is what Ollie at Property Branding has created for us. Looks really swish. I'm really happy with how it's come out. If you're an investor or a family office or a fund, please do head over to xpproperty.co.uk. Check out some of the projects that we've worked on historically. Check out some of our pipeline. You can get a good understanding and sense of the types of projects that we've worked on. I've spoken about St Andrew's Court, which is on site later this year. This is the old Maltings, which this is a CGI of where we think the property is going to end up when we get full planning approval. Marlow is another project that we're going to be starting in the next couple of weeks. There's a little bit of information about these projects in each one. You can get a good sense of where we're headed. Look at the project location. Take a look at some of the photos. These are obviously existing photos before conversion because we haven't started works yet. But yeah, it's come along really well. There's going to be a lot of information for property developers, small business owners, property investors on the website. We're going to be loading all of these YouTube videos onto the website. We're going to be loading all of the podcasts that we've been on to help you grow your business and push your business forward. So do check it out. Cool. One of my final points today is MIPIM. If you're going to MIPIM, we would love to see you there. We are actively over the next 6 weeks going to be trying to book in various meetings with lenders, with funds, with family offices, with service providers. If you've not been to MIPIM, it's a great laugh. We have been the past couple of years running now, and it's a great networking opportunity. Everyone who's everyone in the property industry will be going. It's the 12th to the 15th of March. Hit us up if you want to meet for a coffee or a beer. We're going to be there for the whole time. So yeah, just a shout out really for those that are going. If you'd be interested in meeting up to discuss some of your projects, either as a developer, and we mentioned it last week, we don't always deliver the schemes that we get under offer and we start taking through legals. Some of them we will sell on, because I've just mentioned only some of our projects which we've got in our delivery pipeline. We can't really cope with many more. So we're actively looking to sell some of the projects that we've already got either under offer or we've got planning approval for, and we want to trade on. If you're looking for deals, get on our database, make sure you're on our monthly newsletter, because we will be launching all of the deals that we're looking to sell on via that route first. If you're on our newsletter, you're going to get first access to all of the sites that we're looking to sell on. So yeah, do make sure you are on that newsletter list. Thomas, thank you very much. Huge amount of value from you both on these Friday lives. I'm really happy you say that. That's kind of, makes it all worth it. This is what we do it for. We love sharing the ins and outs of everything that's going on across our businesses. It's so tough to run a business, to run a development business in this market, in any market really. So if we can help in any way, kind of give you some nuggets of information that you didn't otherwise know, that save you money or add value to you, that is why we're here and why we do it. Fundamentally, that's all I have to say this week. Jack will be back with us next week, I'm sure he's having a fantastic time skiing. As always, if you've got any questions, please let us know down in the comments. If you're listening on the podcast, hopefully within the description, there will be a link to follow us over on YouTube so you can actually see what we're talking about, which I think given this platform and the type of industry we're in, seeing the developments that we're talking about, I think adds massive value. And showing you how we've added value to those things, I think is quite key. So if you're listening on the podcast, fantastic, but please do go over to YouTube and subscribe as well. So that's it from me today. Tune in on Friday next week at 5 p.m. And if you've got any questions, do drop them below. Thanks, everyone.